don't chase happiness. Chase instead a couple good relationships and protect those, invest in those. Chase something that's a little bit interesting to you, a little bit novel at any age. And the third plank of a good life that we would recommend you chase is some kind of meaning or purpose. And while it's true, you can find that outside of work.
Work is often a vehicle.
Gigantic number of people find their meaning through work. And increasingly, people are more forthright about saying, I'm going to work forever. Why? Because it gives me a purpose. There's a place we work, and there's somebody there who's clearly older than everybody else. He's probably in his 80s, and he's a security guard. And we were talking about having a good life. We're talking about this very topic. And he's like, I took this job because I was going to die. And I'm like, what? You took a security guard job because you were going to die? And he says, yes, he retired, and he retired about the same time that 4 of his other buddies retired. And so they made a coffee club, and they would get together on Tuesdays and Thursdays and have coffee and talk. And within like 8 months of having this coffee club, 2 of the guys died. And he's like, I got to get out of this coffee club. Like, not that it's bad luck coffee club, but like, we don't have anything to do. That we're burning 2 hours talking about nothing in a coffee club. I got to get a job. And he's like, I don't need the money. I use this money and smartly, he used the money to fund activities with his grandkids. And so this, money that he doesn't need, not that he's rich, but, this money he's making from being a security guard is going
Which gives him the purpose.
Yeah.
And then he's using it to facilitate. Yeah,
deepening of a relationship. Yeah, that matters to him. And so he's using, this, I'm saving these next 2 paychecks, and then we're going to go to Corpus Christi or whatever. But anyway, this idea of you need, a friend of mine, his mom doesn't need to work, has plenty of money, not rich, but has enough. She's 85, and she's a greeter at literally a greeter at Walmart. And your instinct is to laugh at that because it's Walmart and it's a greeter. By the way, I love Walmart, but I know some people think the worst job in the world is a greeter at Walmart. But this guy's mom does it because it's the Walmart in her hometown, a percentage of the people she knows from life, another percentage, they come in and she says hello, and they know her now because she's been doing this for 8 years. And it gives her a reason to get up, take a shower.
It's not dissimilar from the older people we see at hospitals who are going around with like tea carts, or they're manning a desk where like you can go up for information and they'll help you find it. Yeah, the auxiliary.
The volunteer.
Yeah. So I mean, they're not working.
Yeah.
But they're finding a purpose. Almost all of them have a story about either directly or indirectly
the hospital.
Involve health and hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, why they're doing that.
But like even just that, like they have a purpose.
Yeah. Like we've over the years, and any of the people listening who are from first responder, and we do a lot of work in fire departments and some work in police departments and a ton of work in EMS that are connected either to fire or to the hospitals that we work in. And often the pensions are very good in first responder world. And people will leave those jobs and retire and not need to work. And so they won't, and they will die. Not everybody. And there's an increasing awareness of this old school idea. If you're old enough to remember your parents, they couldn't wait for retirement. That's not going to be you.
It should. So if you can't wait for retirement to the extent possible, you might want to rethink either what you're doing for work or where you're working.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting there going, I can't wait for retirement, that something is missing.
Yeah.
Because not that you get up to go to work and like you necessarily cheer with happiness, right? Like, because we're not thinking about happiness, but you should generally get there and feel like, yeah, what I did mattered.
Yeah. again, I know this is a luxury that we have in this era, right?
But I mean, it doesn't require a fancy job. Like I know you've heard this story before, but I grew up in a drive-in movie theater. Like it's not the prettiest place on the world, although I think it's very special and it has a really like great feel. Like when this moon and the stars are out and people are laughing in their cars, like it just feels wonderful to be there. And so like, I'm flipping hamburgers and that's not a fancy job. I mean, yes, I'm managing the place, but it's not a fancy job. It's not a high prestige organization. And yet I always felt like I had meaning and purpose in that job because I would walk the lot and I would hear the families laughing. And I knew that they were having a moment with their family that would register as a special moment. And that was the purpose. And so like, you don't need to have like a high expertise, high status, whatever specialized job to have purpose. But you do have to make an effort to see where that purpose or meaning is in your job. And if you're not finding it, then maybe you either need to be somewhere else or you need to be doing something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's possible, as you mentioned, it's possible to have meaning without work. I think my mom is a decent example. She stopped paid work probably 20 years ago, maybe 25, but she immediately threw herself into a series of gigantic projects and started or was the part of starting significant nonprofits. And that gave her life meaning and a sense of purpose. Think about this in your own life. If you're listening to this, think about the people who don't have something to do. I don't mean to pick on them, but if you've ever been to a nursing home, that is a lot of people without a purpose. Mm-hmm. Look at how they spend their days. And there's not a ton to look forward to. Or I know there's exceptions, but I would just say, if you haven't been to a nursing home, go to one. And look at the residents.
It would be interesting to actually try to find a purpose. I mean, unfortunately, they're just limited in health.
Yeah, and I think that this has been well studied, right, in gerontology. And so I think that a lot of the chair yoga at 10, lunch at noon.
Yes, those are activities.
Right, but you can help. I mean, it's something to do.
Yeah, that's getting more at the people side of it.
Can be, building the relationships.
Right.
But I mean, this is a good question. We can strike this if you don't want to use it. But, what would you say is your mom's purpose? Your mom moved to independent living a year ago or 8 months ago. Mm. What's her purpose? Because she seemed to be having a good life.
Well, I think that
it was the relationship.
It's the relationship. She's got a best friend. Her name's Sandra. And then she's got the other Patties. And every time,
that's true.
And every time I call her, she's either exercising or
it's very interesting.
Being involved in. Yeah. So I mean, for her, it's definitely like
the relationships are the meaning.
Yeah. The relationships aren't necessarily the meaning, but she was in a relationship void.
Yeah, sure.
Living at home
alone. Yeah, she was living at home alone, and she would get visited by, your brother and other people, but it wasn't,
was to
they have their lives.
Yeah, they have brief, their lives. And they're not peers, and you're not going through similar things.
There's not 80-some years old coming around all the time.
So, years of, my mom has added years to her life, moving to independent living.
Yeah, in Florida.
But
surrounded by.
But also, my mother is somebody who has kept meaning. I mean, we have pried.
That's true.
The responsibility of her estate out of her hand, pulled back one finger at a time to wrestle the estate out of her hands. And I still haven't completely wrestled
it.
And
that estate is just business. I mean, it's when Cindi says estate, she just means there's still a drive-in movie theater, and her mom is still interested in that. And so, it's a good point. I hadn't thought about it, but your mom's a good example of your mom has in her life now. She's always had the family relationships and some friends, but she has brand new relationships and novelty. I mean,
she's been hit really hard. I think all of her cousins who were basically her siblings they've all died. The last one
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's a good example of what we're talking about. Of your mom today, as of us talking about this, she's how many?
7.
She's 87 years old, and I dare say we use this word, she's thriving. And why is she, let's go down the numbers of this science. What does science say about having a good life? Well, relationships, check. Meaning, yes, she still pays attention to what's going on with the drive-in, what's going on.
Yeah, she's balancing her checkbooks every month.
Still doing that. So, and those are important to you and your family. Those were businesses that you all have had for decades.
We love them.
Yeah. So meaning, check. And then novelty, newness. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she moved. She's 87. She's 87 and she moved from New Hampshire to Florida. And her day-to-day friends are new.
And the activities she's doing, she's seeing a lot of new places.
Yep. Right. She's no longer at the Shaw's grocery store from New Hampshire. Now she's at Publix. So, I mean, in what the science would suggest, the ingredients, your mom has it. 2 years ago, did we say she was thriving? No. What was missing? Probably from the ingredient list, both the novelty and newness and the relationships. They were probably both missing. Mm-hmm. And so those got plussed up with this move. And so it's a good, and your mom didn't move to Florida to chase happiness.
No, we had to convince her to move to Florida. We had to hold on to her house so she could change her mind if it was awful.
Yeah.
We didn't know how it was going to go.
But in having meaning and having relationships and having a little bit of novelty, I'm not leading the witness. Answer this however you want. Would you say your mom's happy right now?
Yes.
Yeah. And that she's having more periods of happiness now than she's had for the last few years?
Yes.
Not that I would say she was unhappy, but I think there's more happiness in her life now. But it's a byproduct of these other big things. Chase those. Don't chase happiness.